Artboard to the cloud. And then share my screen. Okay, let's see here. Pop up an Illustrator. Okay, wonderful. So you guys should all see Illustrator now. And I need to hide the video panel. There we go. And stop my video, and that'll save us on some bandwidth there. Hopefully video size. All right. Oh, Sarah, you're so nice. How was my birthday dinner? We had a blast. It was great. We went to this place that my family affectionately calls a scary restaurant. It's a Brazil steakhouse, and let me tell you, they have the best food and the most amazing food. But the second you're finished with your plate, there's like 3 guys that show up to take the plate, the silverware, and anything else you're done with. It is so frightening and scary. But it's awesome at the same time too. So we had a blast. Thank you for asking. All right. Now, okay, so I hope I'm not going to go past, you know, we just basically, we had our first webinar, you know, a couple of weeks ago on Illustrator, and we covered a lot of basics on there. And then in the last Photoshop session, we covered on how to customize your workspace, and essentially it's the same in Illustrator. It's the same position up here. So you see where you've got essentials. Okay, you can come in, and any window or any panel that you want to access, you can access through the window menu here. So if you want to take a look at your Lyne panel, all you have to do is come here and click on it. It opens up here. If you want to dock this, you know, somewhere over here, if we wanted to move the Lyne panel above the color and the color guide, we would just drag it over there. Wait, you know, make sure that the blue outline is in the right place and that, you know, it's going where we want it to go. And even if it doesn't, you know, we could drag it out, make it floating again. We remember these, sorry, let's see here. This creates the shortcuts for the menu and all the tabs that you've got in each, workspace. And then when you want to close it, you can just click the X here. This is a context menu for this specific tab. We click on transform, we click that again, and these are all the menus that have to do with transform, etc. Okay, so all that good stuff, right? And so you can totally customize your workspace. Let's shrink this down. We'll go ahead and drag this scrubber bar, right? So there's no room to drag up here in the top right here where the close and the expand buttons are. So they give us this little scrubber bar. We can drag it over here. We can dock it in this sidebar area here. So as you're working on projects and all these wonderful fun things in Illustrator, you could completely customize your workspace. And then when you're ready to save all the changes that you made, you come over here and you click on New Workspace. You give it a name right here, and there you go. You've got a custom workspace, okay? If you make changes to your workspace and you don't like them, you can come here and you can reset the workspace that you've currently got, okay? So this is the essential workspace. Probably most of you guys that are working in Illustrator, Creative Cloud, this is the default workspace that usually opens, okay? So your Essentials workspace. So if you're not looking at the Essentials workspace right now, and if you don't have a bunch of unsaved changes, why don't you go ahead and click up here in your workspace panel and then select Essentials so we can kind of be looking at the same things. Your library is going to look different from mine, but then, you know, we just like minimize it so that's not getting in the way, okay? So what I thought we would do tonight is, and I appreciate you guys being patient with me so much. I know in past webinars, sometimes I'm sort of lower key, and it's because there's just so much to cover, you know, and there's so many things and so many intricacies with Photoshop and Illustrator, and gosh, there's a lot of information to go over. And sometimes I tend to, I'm a very detail-oriented guy, and I tend to get bogged down in the details, and sometimes that is boring. But and it's hard to talk for an hour straight too. So I just really appreciate you guys being patient, and I hope that you guys are getting value from all this. And so enough disclaimers. I'm excited. We're going to get going. One other thing is over here, you see my my tools have a 2-column format. Yours might not. Okay, depending on the size of your screen or of your monitor that you're working in, you might have 1 column, and so yours might look like this. Okay, I prefer 2 columns, and so I just click on this double caret, this double arrow at the top, and that gives me 2 columns right there. If you don't like it, you can click on the left double arrows, and that gives you 1 column. There you go. All right, wonderful. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, there was a fellow in the last webinar. He asked a couple of questions, and I thought, man, that would be an awesome place to start, and it might give you guys some ideas and fun things to do, okay? So what I've done here as a refresher, I came over here and I selected New from Template, and if you remember in the last tutorials, I showed you guys how to create a template after you'd set up. Sorry, I'm getting a little lost. My secondary monitor here opened up the dialog, and yep, it's being and then all the webinar, all of the webinar things are staying on top, and so it's hard to kind of move things around here, staying on top of the window that just opened. So let me move them out of the way. Then I can get this guy, bring it over. Okay, so there we go. So we showed you how to create a template, and then to open the template that you create, you go New from Template. It opens up the dialog box, and we've got a Merge Standard Template here, so we double click on that. And this opens up this tab here where it's Untitled, and it's a regular Illustrator tab that you can create on. How amazing is that, right? That's so awesome. And it's not a template file anymore, so you don't have to worry about any changes that you make in this file now are not related to the template at all, other than this template has all the dimensions that we set up, okay? So this is a good thing. Now what we'll do is we'll make some changes, we'll do some cool things, and then we'll save it off as an Illustrator file. And so then you'll have the Illustrator document saved, so then you can come back and you can manipulate Illustrator and do all kinds of fun things in there. But what you're going to do after you get your creation, your design set up for print on demand, you're going to go ahead and you're going to export it, and then that exported file is what you're going to upload to print on demand. Okay, so hopefully we'll get to all that tonight, but for right now, let's go ahead and do a couple fun things, okay? So where most of us are going to start in print on demand is the designs that seem to be selling really, really well are text designs, right? And so I thought we would do a couple fun things with text tonight and see what y'all think. Are you guys good with that? Does that sound good? Give me some text love. Let me know if you guys are feeling the love and feeling the greatness of what we're going to go over. I got a thumbs up from Sarah. Wonderful. Okay, so now this is our text tool right here. Okay, can you guys see over here the big T, right? The big T is for the type tool, and that's going to be the thing that we're going to start with most of the time. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to show you a couple ways to create text. So one way is that you can drag a text box, okay, to whatever size you want, and then that creates a text field. And you see all this microscopic text in here that you cannot read. It's totally filler stuff there. Let me zoom in on that really quick. The way I did that is I pushed Alt, and I held down the Alt key, and then I scrolled my mouse wheel up, and that zoomed us into like 400% in the blink of an eye. Okay, so that's just placeholder text right there. So let's go ahead and we'll delete that. And notice that the text box is still there, and so we can type our stuff in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type, so exciting, guys. We're going to type the word steel. Can you imagine how exciting this is? I don't know. Maybe I need to tone it down. I'm too excited. All right, so steel. So you guys are like, what the heck has steel got to do with anything? You'll see. All right, so what we do here, you can't read it. It's not big enough to even put on a coffee mug, right? It's microscopically small. If we hit Control 1, that's going to zoom us at 100%. So that's actually what you would see at 100% of this. Now this is not, obviously, this is not a coffee mug template. This is a t-shirt template for merch. So it's 15 by 18, okay? So this is kind of what the size of the text would be if you were looking at a 15 by 18 sheet. Not big enough to read, okay? So it's easy enough. Now, since we're inside the text box here, okay, we have to actually highlight the text to make changes. Like if we just come over here to our text size, font size here, and we do like we do shift up, which takes us to the next 10-point increment, you'll notice that the text isn't changing at all, okay? Now this is different if we were, if we'd used our select tool, and I'll show you the difference here in a minute. So if we're inside the text box, right, if we're gonna change the size of that text, we've gotta have it highlighted, okay? There's so many different ways to work and different ways to do things. If you are not sure of the size of text that you want, you come over here up at the top, right? We're using these context sensitive menus. And you can click inside the size box and you can literally just click your up arrow. Okay, if I click my up arrow once, it's going to take it to 13 point. If I click it one more time, it's going to take us to 14 point. Now, if I hold shift and I click the up arrow, it's going to take us to 20 points. Okay, do it again, it's going to take us to 30 points. Almost like I know what I'm doing here, right? So exciting. Okay, but let's say we know that we don't want to do that. We're going to click this drop down box here and let's take it to 60 points. Okay, that's not even really big enough, right? So one of the things that we can do is we can click on, see where this is almost like a hyperlink, guys. Anytime you see a white kind of highlighted thing like, okay, so like you got character here, you got paragraph here, you got opacity over here, you can click on those and that's going to bring up your panel with all the different cool things that you can do with, in this case, characters, all right? So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to change our font. And in the font space here, now this will work over here as well, okay? You can, what we want is we want a big, bold font, okay? So now you may not know like Myriad Pro, right? Or you may not remember Impact, or I mean, that's an easy one to remember, but you know, you may not remember the font that you're actually after. So what's kind of cool in these, come on now, what are you doing? Oh, I think I got something going on with my computer. It's trying to get at me. Okay, so what you can do is you can type in the type of font that you want. So in this case, right, I'm going to type in bold, okay? And basically, this is like a text search, right? So you'll notice it doesn't have to be the first, like bold doesn't have to be the first thing that's in the font name, right? It's just going to go through all the different font names and all the font names that have bold in them. It's going to like show you them, right? It's really powerful, really neat, okay? So there's a font that I'm after, and it's got ultra bold. There it is, Gil Sans, ultra bold. All right, so we're gonna click on that. And now we've got the word steel, it's getting bigger. That's nice, because the font is huge. And what we're after is we want these nice thick letters here, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pop this up to the largest font that's available in this drop down. Oh no, what do we do, right? If we can't select anything larger than 72 points. That's no bueno, right? But guess what? You can type in what you want here. So we could go like 150 points, right? And then we can press enter and oh my gosh, right? So we can literally tell Illustrator whatever we want it to do. Illustrator is one of the most powerful programs when you're dealing with vector designs and different things like that. Because like, check this out. Okay, I was going to show you guys this the other last week. Hang on, I've got this actually open, so I don't have to waste a ton of time on it. So I wanted to show you this. So this is Photoshop. One of the guys in the last webinar, he was asking like, okay, what's the highest level difference between Photoshop and Illustrator, okay? So see here, this is a screenshot. This is not actually Photoshop open, but this is a screenshot of Photoshop, okay? And you can see everything's in focus, right? I didn't do anything weird or funky. And this is an example of one point text, okay, at a 290% zoom. See, this is the zoom down here. And see how pixelated it is? It's crazy, okay? Now, check this out. This this next image I'm going to show to you guys is the exact same text. I kid you not. It is not modified whatsoever, but we zoomed into the highest zoom that Photoshop will do, which is 3200%. That is that same text, okay? Because Photoshop is not, Photoshop is pixel based. It does not do the math as far as like making sure that everything is clear no matter what size you're using, okay? So that is the exact same text that we were looking at here, just zoomed in to 3200%, okay? But watch this. All right, so let me go ahead. Another way to create text is to, let me click off of that, is instead of creating a box like I did earlier, you can actually just click in anywhere in your artboard, and it's going to create a text line for you, just like it just did, right? Okay, so now check this. We're going to go ahead and let me move this over. I'm going to click. Okay, so if you want to edit the text inside, you can do one of a couple things. So if you've got your black selection tool selected, okay, and you're clicking on it, right, that's just going to move it. You're not really going to be able to edit the text, right? But if you take your black arrow tool and you double click, it'll give you your text editing tool, okay? So let's go ahead and click. We're going to go ahead and select that text there. We're going to resize it all the way down to 6 points, okay? And actually, why don't we do this? Why don't we go even more crazy? And we'll go 1 point, okay? So we've now just resized that sample text to 1 point. I know you can still see it, but it's kind of difficult to see. It's right down here on the edge of this artboard right now, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in. We're going to zoom in on it, okay? Now, if we were in Photoshop, we wouldn't be able to read it at 3200 or whatever that percentage was. Yeah, 3200%. But if you notice here in Illustrator, we're at 8500%, and it's as clear as it was when it was like, you know, 5-inch letters, okay? And we're going to zoom in, we're going to zoom in, and we're at 64,000% zoom. And those letters are still perfect and look exactly right. And so if you can imagine this in reverse, you'd be able with Illustrator to make these letters the size of a 5-story building, and they would still be just as clear because Illustrator is a math-based program. It's vector and math-based. And so this is one of the reasons why you want to get comfortable using Illustrator for your designs. Okay, now Photoshop is awesome, and it's amazing when you're dealing with photographs and other things. Like it does an amazing job at that kind of thing. But if you really want to make sure that your images and your letters and everything are the highest possible quality that they can be, Illustrator's your guy. All right, so what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to delete this for now, and we're going to go ahead and zoom out to 100%. That's Control 1. I'm going to fit everything on screen, which is Control 0. I'm going to hold my Alt key. I'm going to scroll my mouse wheel back 1. And so that way, this is just a personal preference for me. I like having this gray area all the way around the artboard. I don't know what it is, but I just like to work like that better. I don't really like when I Control 0 like that. Sometimes it'll flush this very top edge of the artboard right up to the top of the workspace, and I just don't dig that. So I'm going to go ahead and Alt, back it off there. And then, so now we're back to our steel word here, okay? So imagine, I know you guys probably have very little interest in the word steel, but just imagine that this was part of your text design, okay? Now, I'm going to double click in there so I can edit it up, and I'm going to, okay, let me show you this right now, okay? So when you're in the, when you're inside of the text box like this, you can click your selection tool and you can resize your box without resizing the text here. Okay, now this may come in handy one of these days for you, but let's go ahead and just leave it like this. So I've got this text box kind of wrapped around as closely as possible to the word steel here. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to just grab it with the direct selection tool now, and we are going to center it to the artboard. So right up here, this is our Align To selector. So if we have multiple things on the board, we can select a key object to align to. We can align to the selection, or we can align to Artboard. Okay, so right now what I want to do is I want to center this to the Artboard. So I've got Align to Artboard selected. We're going to click that. Voila, we're centered to the Artboard. How cool is that? Okay, so now here's another another thing we can do with text. So let me click here. Now notice, right, we that did place text, but it placed it at the last 1 point size that we had set up. Okay, so now even though I don't like have this like officially selected with my black arrow tool, I can go ahead and I can start to resize, and it starts to come into focus, which is kind of cool. Okay, so this is just resizing the font size here. All right, let's see here. Let me bring this up to 70 for now. We'll go ahead and grab that. Okay, now you see the difference here is that we were, let me undo that. We're not clicked in here to edit the text. Okay, if I click in here to edit the text, then I go grab my tool here. Oh, sorry. Okay, guys, let me just show you this function here, right? So it's possible to resize the text. If you want to resize it and you want to keep the ratio, you just hold your Shift key down, and that'll keep your height and width of the text the same. But let's say you wanted to, so even if you grab one of these middle handles and drag it up and down with your Shift key down, it's still going to maintain your aspect ratio, okay? But if you don't have your Shift key pressed, you can monkey with and adjust this font all over the place, okay? You can make it taller, you can make it scrunched upper. That's not really good English, right? You can drag it back like this. You can try and get back to where you were. You can drag it really far apart. So you can kind of squeeze and manipulate the text in ways that, you know, visually, right? You can also come up here and you can click on this character like we did before, and you can adjust kerning. You can adjust spacing between. So if we do this, right, we're adjusting the tracking for the entire text box. You can adjust the character height here. Of course, we're not selected on any characters right now, so it's not. Oh, sorry. This is line. This is I forget what it's called. Is it going to tell me? This is the leading, right? So this is the distance between. So if we take this guy down here, go ahead and highlight it. And we jack this up. This is a separation between lines, which is called leading. Okay, we can come down here, we can scrunch them up real tight. And also keep in mind that the shift up and down thing also works here. The shift up and down arrow works in any of these boxes, okay? All right, and then of course you can type a number in. This controls how tall the letters or how short the letters are, how wide the letters are here. Okay, so if you want that really fine control over your characters, it's all available to you here, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna open up my layers panel. Okay, always remember when you have this, when you see one of these right angle brackets here, that means that you can spin them open and there's gonna be things inside, okay? The way to make sure that you're selected on a layer, you know, so in Photoshop, remember guys, we just click on the layer and then it's selected, but this little double donut here, this double circle, is what tells you what is actually selected in your layers panel. So I can click down here, but the actual layer that's still selected in Illustrator is the one that has this double circle on it, okay? And so I could be up here and be thinking, right, if I've got my Photoshop brain installed, I could be thinking that I've actually selected the entire layer, when actually if I click on delete here, the thing that gets deleted is the thing that was that had the double donut on it, okay? All right, so let me go ahead and I'm going to delete that layer. So we've got steel there. let's go ahead and we're going to make another text layer. And down here, we're going to do fire, right on. Okay, so now notice this as well. I don't know if we've covered this before or not, but you see the different colors here? Okay, so this layer is red and this layer is blue. So when I've got, okay, let me grab my black arrow tool. So when I have this layer selected, you'll see the outline box here is red. When I come up here and grab steel, it's blue, and that helps you understand what layers and what assets you actually have you actually have selected. Okay, so what you can do if you wanna switch that up. Okay, let's see here. Oh, and to rename, you just double click in here. So we go, this is text steel. Let's just do it that way so it's easy to remember. I think we go here. Man, sorry, some of this live stuff is tougher to do than when you're just working with it. Okay, oh, also this is good. I like to work with like 70 pixel previews over here. Makes it easier for me to see what's going on. Okay, so then we just expand it out like that. Then that way I don't you. Thanks, Sarah. Okay, and then you click the drop down, you can change the color. And so let's say I wanted to change the steel color to green. Click OK, and there it is right there. Now notice I just changed the top layer. If I've got this layer selected, it's still going to be blue. Okay. All right. Now, bear with me here, guys, because I don't like that because it looks like black, right? So let's go back here to blue, and that's all good. Okay. So let's go ahead and remake this one. I don't know. I think I like, oops, sorry. Fire. We're going to grab that. Make it 120, I don't know, bigger, 225. Bigger is better. Okay, now this might happen to you where you're working on a design for a mug or for a t-shirt, and all of a sudden your text disappears outside of your text box. Okay, what's gone on? You see this little icon down here, it's got a plus on it. It's not gone, the text isn't vanished mysteriously, it's just larger than what this current text box can contain. So what you can do is come over here and grab your selection tool and expand the box so that it could actually contain the letters. All right, so let me click off of that. Click in here. Oh, okay. I guess I could show you all this. So you don't always have to click inside to edit the text. So right now, if I want to edit the font size here, I just have selected this item, and I go there and I put in 225. Okay, and it all disappeared, but that's okay because we see this little plus box here, so we know not to panic, right? And we can go like that, and there's all of our magical stuff there. Okay, so the first thing I want to do here is I want to make sure that they are aligned to each other. Okay, and then I want to align them to the artboard. Okay, so now we're centered to each other and we're centered to the artboard. Okay, now here's another thing, another character thing that I think comes in handy sometimes. And you've seen this before in Photoshop and other programs, even Word. You can set these items here, so we could do a small caps if we wanted to without having to go back in and retype the word, or we could use all capitals here, and that's what I want to do in this case. And again, we ran out of room, and so we're gonna recenter to the artboard. Center here. Center here. Center the artboard. So we're all good there. All right, so now we've got basically over here in Illustrator, sometimes this takes a little bit of getting used to. We've got a fill and a stroke for every single thing really that we do, whether it's a vector shape or text or anything. So in this situation, I'm going to tell it that I don't want to have any fill. Okay, so that's what this box with the red line through it is. That means that it'll be a transparent, no fill situation, right? Which is different from having a white fill. Okay, so I'm going to go no fill on those letters, and then let's pick a stroke. Let's get this nice kind of deep red here, and then we change the stroke width right here. So I usually like to start with 3 as a stroke width, just as a place to start. And I'll click in here. I'm going to grab this guy here, and we are going to. We have this nice picture of steel here. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this guy. I'm going to do Control-C for copy, okay? So you can grab a copy up here, okay? I'm going to come back over here, and now I've got my steel word selected. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to draw inside of that word. Now, some people want you to come over, and they want you to go through a bunch of different steps, and they want you to create a clipping mask, okay? And I'm not saying that's wrong at all, but for me, this is just sort of an easier way to achieve the same effect and to do what I want to do. So I'm going to click this little button here, which is to draw inside of these letters, or of these letters, okay? And I'm going to do edit, and I'm going to paste in place. Oh my God, nothing happened. What happened, guys? Okay, well, it pasted that image down here, which is not where these letters are. You guys following me so far? I hope. And Diana, there will be a replay, and we're going to post it in Shawn's POD group, and we're going to post it in the Photoshop and Illustrator Sorcery group, so you'll be able to check it out. And I'm glad you guys are, like, some of you are feeling it's a lot of information, because that's awesome. That means I'm doing my job here, because there is so much to cover. Okay, so let's get back to this. What happened? We pasted something in place and we can't find it. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna go jump off a cliff. But you don't have to. That's the good news, right? So there's a couple of things. This is kind of tricky, but follow along, okay? So we want to edit the contents of this item that we've just pasted something into, okay? Sometimes if you come over here and you click on something and you're looking around for the thing that you couldn't find, sometimes Illustrator's going to default you over to edit the clipping path. That's not what we want, okay? And if you do that, it's going to be no bueno for you, right? Because basically it's going to move this and this together, and that's not going to work. So you want to make sure that you've got edit contents, and then you can do this thing. I hope I didn't just make another fool out of myself. Sometimes I talk, I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, and look how I'm dragging this blue box right up here to where these letters are. And oh no, it's blue, but watch. It's almost like magic. There's the steel showing up inside the word steel. Amazing creativity by Mark Lyne, yours truly. Everybody applaud now. Okay. All right, so we got to resize this guy. You can resize it, keeping its aspect ratio by doing what? Holding the shift key, right? Okay. Or we can resize it and mess up the aspect ratio, really whatever we want to do, okay? But now we have this steel background filling these letters. That's neat, right? Let me get some rights in the chat. That's pretty neat. Okay, so now if you ever want to move this around, you can. Just remember, you have to have this button, the draw inside button clicked, and you have to have your edit contents button clicked, okay? And there you go. All right, so now we're done with that. We want to remember to click back over here. Okay, so some people will tell you that in order to do this on two text paths inside of the same artboard, that you have to actually convert the text to a shape. And you don't always have to do that. That's one of the reasons that I wanted to share this technique with you guys, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that we can put another completely separate background image into Fire right here, okay? So we're going to click here, and then we're going to, what the heck am I going to do, guys? Okay, look, I have Fire, all right? So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to copy it. I just did a Control-C. I'm coming back over here. I've got my, what is this one, everybody? My draw inside, right? I'm going to go up here. I'm not going to click paste. We're going to click paste in place. Boom. Look at that. There's like fire inside of the word fire. It's crazy. Okay, so that's not the position that I want though, right? That's all like coals and wood and whatnot. So I'm going to drag this fire guy all the way down here. Now, I want you to notice what I just did here, okay? I've got this. Now, I'm going to be experimenting with this live. I'm not completely sure if this is going to work perfectly the way I want it to work, but what the heck? I'm going to be a little brave, and we're going to try this out. Okay, so that's good. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to be like, take this over here, and we're good. Okay, now I'm going to click on this. And just for fun, I'm going to grab this steel here. We're on the fire. Now see, it's not letting me draw inside. Why not? Because it's already got something inside. Okay, so now let's see what happens if we edit and we paste in place. Darn it, didn't work. So see, this is why, like, let's say we had wanted the F and the I to have the fire in it, and we wanted the R and the E to have this metal plate in it. That's when you're going to need to convert these to shapes, okay? And then you can put different backgrounds into the same word. Of course, you could do it a different way, right? You could create R, okay? And then come over here and you duplicate the steps that we did, or we go zero fill, same stroke, up to 3, right? We make sure we're selected on this. Click here, paste in place. Okay. One of the cool things that I think you guys can kind of figure out where I'm going with this, right? So one of the reasons that I really like this technique, this paste in place, is because you can continue to edit the text inside. Once you convert to a shape, or letters to shapes, you're kind of ski-rood when it comes to, yeah, that's a word. I said it. You're kind of ski-rood if you ever want to change the text, okay? Because once you convert text to a shape, you cannot edit it as text ever again, all right? So let me grab this guy here. Okay, also notice, right, when this is selected now, when your edit clipping path is selected and you're on your black arrow tool, when I move this around, it's not moving the background, all right? So what I would do here is, if I really wanted to do that and I didn't want to actually convert these to shapes, this is more or less how I would do that, okay? Is this providing any sort of inspiration more than maybe the last few tutorials that were so detail orientated on, you know, like, are you guys starting to see where you might be able to take some of the techniques I've shared with you tonight and start to like implement them in your super awesome, cool print on demand merch efforts and design work, right? I hope, because that's what I'm here for. Taking a little drinky poo there. All right, so now once again, notice we zoom in on this guy. Check this out. See, you're not going to have this detail in Photoshop. You're not going to be able to get your letters. Basically, your letters could end up being pixelated. Okay, if you're blowing them up and you're manipulating around and all that kind of stuff. Okay. All right, so now let's talk about saving this file. So to save this, right? Remember, even though we open it with a template, it didn't open as a template when we went here and we went to new from template. Okay, it opened as just as if you had gone to new and created a new document from scratch. Okay, so now what we want to do, we don't want to lose all this amazing work that we've done. I mean, check it out, steel fire. We just got to put a word right here, and we got a friggin' T-shirt, man. All right, so what we want to do is we want to save this artboard. Okay, and that's what it's called. It's not a document. It's an artboard. All right, so we can come up here. We get a couple options because it's currently not named. We can go File and Save. I usually always kind of as habit on anything I've ever worked on, where I know I'll probably be working on iterations and different things like that. I always do File, Save As, okay? And so, you know, Illustrator, it defaults to the template directory again. That's no good. Wish it didn't do that, but it does. So you just navigate yourself to your, there we go, to your save folder, and we go ahead and we give it a name. Okay, and you notice we're going to be saving it as a splat.ai. So that's what we want, and that's going to save all the information that we need to. Now, look, with this dialog box here, guys, I don't think any of us right now, for what our purposes are with these webinars for print on demand and, you know, coming up with coffee mug designs and all these wonderful things, none of us are really going to be needing to mess around with any of this stuff in here. So just leave it at the default and go ahead and click on OK here. If you want to look into that a little bit deeper, obviously, you know, there's hundreds of YouTube videos, and of course there's our group. Okay, and I don't know if you guys, sorry, I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but let's see if it replicates here. Let me zoom out. Come on, one more time. Okay, right here, guys, if you look at this S really closely, the S, and then look at this E over here. The stroke does not look like it's matching with that image right there, that back image. You guys seeing that? But that's just a weird Illustrator artifact thingamajigger. If you zoom in and you actually inspect everything, it's all as it should be, right? The background image is exactly where it's supposed to be in the E. Okay, so as amazing as Illustrator is, every once in a while you'll find a weird quirk in it, and don't like jump off a bridge because of it. You know, they have issues that they have to work on too. But you know, if you go to print this out, and sometimes, by the way, sometimes it is worth printing this out on a piece of paper, just to make sure it's really looking the way that you want it to look. I mean, obviously, you know, it's gonna be hard to print like a 15 by 18 piece of paper, but you know, you can shrink it down and you can resize it and through your print control dialog box to get it to print on an 8.5 by 11, and then you can kind of just get an idea. As you know, make sure it's laid out exactly like you want it to be laid out. Okay, so let's see here. Exporting. Let's get to that before we're running out of time, because we're coming up on the end here. So to export a file, you come down here. Oh my gosh, look at how easy this is, right? So the old way to export, and I don't know really the old way. For a long time, I continued to use this Save for Web, their legacy. Their legacy system, because I wasn't comfortable with the other two. And there's nothing wrong with you if you do that. Okay, that's why they include it in Illustrator, because a lot of people have used this for a really long time, and that's all right. You can do an export as, but really, I think what most people do is, oh, that's awesome. Sarah's at Disneyland. She's going to go watch some fireworks. Excellent. Definitely do that. That is way more exciting than this. Have a good night. So this export for screens, you want to click on that. And then what I like to do is I don't like to do it. The way to do it, right, if we're doing print-on-demand designs, make sure not your assets are, the assets tab is selected. Make sure your Artboards tab is selected, okay? And then what I do, this is my personal preference. I always export three versions, and the reason for that is because I'm not really sure what print-on-demand service I'm going to be exporting the file for. Like if I'm going to upload it to, you know, like merch has slightly different criteria than Redbubble, than, you know, than, I don't know, T-Launch, then, you know, you name it, right? So they all have different criteria. And so what I found is I'm usually, or like, let's say you have a Shopify store, right? And you're using the T-Launch plugin or something like that. I think you have to use this 2400 pixel version or whatever. So these are the three versions that I always generate. And if you want to, okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to default. I'm so sorry. I get like so sidetracked and there's so much to cover. Okay, so yours is going to default to a single one of these, more than likely, okay? Unless you've been in there and you're super awesome and better than me and, you know, you already know how to do this. But more than likely, your exports for screens is going to default to a single row. To add one, you just click this add scale. Oh my goodness, check that out, so cool, right? And in here, you can designate whatever unit you want, okay? So if you're going to designate, you want this to be at the scale, you want it to be at a 2x scale, or if you want it to be at 300 ppi, if you want it to be a certain number of pixels, right? So you can set this up however you want it to be. Now this suffix, this is what is going to append to the file name. Okay, so remember, we saved this as steelandfire.ai. So what will happen is these are going to generate as PNGs. Okay, I'm going to delete this one because I'll forget if I don't take care of that right now. But these are going to this is going to export 3 separate PNGs, and the way that you're going to tell the difference is what the suffix is, right? So this one is going to be okay, and let's change this folder to one that I'll be able to remember. I'm getting older, having a hard time remembering stuff. Okay, so we're in Illustrator Designs. We're going to select a folder. Okay, so this right here, this just selects the folder that you're going to dump this these files into, okay? And so, you know what, let's just go for it, right? So I'm going to export 3 separate files with the click of a single button. So economical, so easy, so amazing. We go export artboard and poof, right? It's going to think about it. It's exporting the second one, the third one. Don't click that stop button. It's still thinking. Still thinking. You can do it, buddy. All right. I love my computer. Okay. So let me see if we can open this guy. And over here, check it out. We've got, oh, you know what? I didn't. Oh my goodness, so silly. Okay, let's try this again, guys. Okay, file. And this is something else I want to make a really quick note of. We've only got 6 minutes left, but you're not always going to get it right on the first time. Even I, and especially I, overlook things. It's okay. If you get stuck, go to our Facebook group, Photoshop and Illustrator Sorcery. Post a question, post a screenshot, and we'll help you out if you get stuck, or and look at our videos, or go to Shawn's group, or go to YouTube and search up a video on what you're stuck with, right? Okay, so you want to rename the file. This is the file name here. Okay, so you can double click on that, and we can just go Steel and Fire. Okay, so now what's going to happen is it's going to export 3 PNGs with Steel and Fire with this suffix .png. Okay, let's try it again, guys. And then it's going to have a prefix of white. So it should be white, steel, and fire. And there we are, white, steel, and fire at 300 ppi, at 2400 pixels, and at 1125 pixels. So now when you click to open your PNG, it's going to open in your default PNG viewer. And check it out, guys, man. That is solid quality right there, right? That looks so great. All right, so I think we've just about gone our hour. Right. The white background should be transparent. But there's a setting under preferences, which I think designates that. So I'll try to cover that in a shorter tutorial or something later in the group. Thanks for pointing that out, Mohammed. All right, so let's see here. It's a lot of information, right? Trying to grab my notes. Okay, so I'm going to put this over in chat. Okay, everybody in chat, I'm going to leave this up for a couple minutes. The Facebook group for Shawn's group is the link at the bottom. That should be the easiest one for y'all to click on. It's the POD, the Print on Demand Master Group. Definitely, if you're not a member, you want to click on that link right now. Request membership. Shawn will get you approved. He'll get you squared away. The link in the middle, it is an affiliate link, and it helps us out a little bit. It's just if you don't have Photoshop or Illustrator, you don't have Creative Cloud yet, we would certainly appreciate it. It would mean the world to us to have you guys click on that. And anytime you want to purchase anything from Adobe, it would help us out. Of course, it's certainly not required, and we're not here to just pitch that to you guys. And then the link on the top is my group, Photoshop and Illustrator Sorcery. And so I'd love it if you guys are not already members, if you would join, and we'd love to have you be members. So anyway, the one thing I would say is if your friend list is not accessible when you request membership from either Shawn's group or mine, and if you don't have a lot of history on Facebook, we're probably going to decline you just for membership, because we got to be really careful that we don't end up with a lot of spam people in the group. So be sure to message us and let us know that you're real and all that good stuff, and then more than likely you'll be approved for the groups. So anyway, guys, we got about 2 minutes left, a minute and a half left. Does anybody have a quick question? Any questions, any comments, anything that you would like to see covered in the next one of these? Oh, by the way, we're going to be taking a break on these longer tutorials right now, because we're getting ready to, for summer and graduations, and all kinds of craziness is going to happen over the next couple weeks. So just keep yourself tuned into the groups, and we'll hopefully be adding some value. And then guys, please participate. Please post questions, and when you create your first couple of projects, please post those in there. We would love to see them. And if you get stuck, ask us. And I just want to thank you guys so much. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up tonight. And thank you so much for being here. And then if you have anything that you want to see covered in the next webinars when we start them up again, make those comments. Let us know in the groups, and we'll do our best. Like I wanted to show you guys how to type on a path tonight. I didn't even get there. So much to cover. Thanks, everybody. You guys have a wonderful couple of weeks, and we'll see you soon.